Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the MPF webinar for April. This is our 48th webinar in the series that Uri and I have been co-presenting, and we're delighted to introduce some marketing experts, some of the best in the world on law firm marketing and business development. We'll introduce them shortly, but welcome, everybody. We are glad you're here. As always, we'll run about an hour or so. We're recorded. Unfortunately, my colleague, my partner in crime, as I like to refer to him, Uri, is not with us today. This is the first one he's missed. As many of you know, he's been shuttling back and forth between Israel and the U.S., and stuff's happening. So he's on an airplane flying back to Israel, believe it or not. But you all know me. We run the Managing Partner Forum and do a little consulting on the side. Our guest speakers are Kevin Iredell. Kevin is the, let me get my cheat sheet, Chief Marketing and Business Development Officer at Lowenstein Sandler. That's a 350 lawyer firm, New York, New Jersey, Colorado, DC, probably elsewhere. So Kevin, hi, how are you?
Hi, John. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate it. And we did this alphabetically by last name. So Megan, you know, unless you want to go through a name change, you're behind Kevin. And Megan's an attorney. I like to say a recovering attorney. And she is the Director of Business Development at Clark Hill. And they're at 600 lawyers. And Megan's based in Chicago. She was last year's co-chair of the LMA conference. And Kevin, by the way, is current president of LMA. So Megan, welcome.
Thanks very much, John. Thanks for having me.
And where do you sit today, Megan? I like the artwork.
Oh, thanks. This is actually my office at the Clark Hill building in Prudential Plaza in Chicago.
You actually go to the office?
I'm actually in the office, yeah.
And Kevin, that looks like an office setting. I hope that's not your living room.
I am also in the office, yeah.
I'm in my office, which is my living room in Atlanta, Georgia. So, you know, I am pure home based. But again, thank you very much, Kevin and Megan, for joining us this afternoon. Legal Marketing Association gathered just 2 weeks ago in San Diego. And what, 1,200 marketing folks from how many countries? 18, 20 countries? Unbelievable outing. And Kevin, kudos to you, Megan, you for a great program. And that's kind of what spawned today's Managing Partner Forum. So Kevin, congratulations on a great conference.
Yeah, thanks. It was actually, so we ended up closer to 1,300 attendees.
Wow.
19 countries, several hundred law firms, over 100 content sessions. It was amazing, just full of energy, beautiful. It was perfect.
I was impressed. I hadn't been one in about 10 years. Megan?
I was going to say, I love how your theme worked with it, Kevin, all in. You really played that all in. And
Kevin was all in. Where are we going next year, the Legal Marketing Association?
Washington, D.C.
Our nation's capital. And is registration yet open?
Registration's not open yet, but soon. I think towards the end of the summer. So, and it'll be in April again. I think it's a little bit later. It's all on the website. Nice
time to be in Washington. So yeah, LMA goes east, central, west, and really it's a great program. It's particularly good for first-time marketers. What you learn in that first conference or two it's unbelievable, and the group is so willing to share and so supportive. Great organization. I encourage y'all to take a look at that. We'll talk more about LMA in a moment, but that conference was great. And I ran into Kevin out there and I said, hey, Kevin, how do you feel about a webinar? And he foolishly said, sure. And then I went after Megan, and she moderated a fishbowl format, which I thought was really cool. And so here we are. Thank you again. Our webinar series, we're the third Wednesdays. You know, we're in a nice little rhythm here. and third Wednesdays seem to work well. Our leadership conference, our signature event coming up in Atlanta in just 2 weeks, is sold out, I'm delighted to say. But if you want to be waitlisted, reach out to us. We can put you on a wait list in the event of last minute cancels. We're going to do a fall program in Chicago for women in law firm leadership. Really looking forward to that. We have our weekly newsletter going out, and so lots there to help managing partners be more effective in the challenging, often ill-defined role. Listservs, our website, we try to assemble a nice rich source of resources as well. This is our conference in Atlanta. We're honing in on profitability. That seems to be a hot topic right now. 2 years ago, it was on culture and remote work and how are we going to make that work. People seem to settle in on that a bit, and the number one priority we're finding among managing partners at mid-sized firms is profitability. And of course, marketing and business development very dramatically impacts our profitability. So we'll talk about all of this stuff. So enough of that shameless plug. Today's session, what's hot, what's not in law firm marketing and business development. Bob Denny, who's one of our legends and a pioneer in law firm marketing, would every year write a white paper, what's hot, what's not. And I've sort of, in tribute to Bob, titled our program this today. 165 registrants. We're going to do more than usual polling questions. Usually we got 4 or 5. We're going to do about 10. So we'll move pretty quickly. Invite Megan and Kevin to comment, bouncing back and forth as we always do to keep things lively and interesting. We'll distribute all the survey results, links to resources before the weekend in terms of follow-up. And what you got to do for us is give us your feedback on the program. So when we hang up today, you'll be directed to a very brief survey. What did you like? What didn't you like? Topics for future programs, and I'll feed that on to Kevin and Megan. We're going to talk about client feedback. So we try to practice what we preach, and that feedback is so valuable as we look to identify topics and speakers and make sure we're delivering value through these programs. And how do you know? But by talking to your clients. Nine Sale does recaps for us now. We want to thank them. So bringing on the data. And Megan, Kevin, I'll invite your comment as we go through, the data we collected at time of registration. When people register, we put 4 questions to you. This was the first one: percentage of spend your firm invests of revenue your firm invests in marketing and business development. Megan, what do you think of this data?
It seems to be fairly in line with what I would be hoping for most firms, at least from other surveys that I've seen within the industry. That 2 to 3% range seems to be a kind of a sweet spot. I am a little worried about some of the firms that are spending less than 2%. It concerns me a little bit because I think it's hard to get a return on your investment with that small of an investment. Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think even outside of law firms, just major companies, corporations are around the 2.5 to 3%. A more mature business that's in, kind of status quo mode may spend a little bit less, but I also worry spending less than 2% is setting yourself up for challenges in the future. So you may be super busy today with work, thinking, I don't have time to market. I'm not going to spend as much money right now because I've got more work than I can deal with. But 6 months from now, a year from now, you're going to be trying to make up ground.
Yeah, I think this is investing in your future profitability, and yeah, it's an expense today. It might impact short-term profitability if we're looking to just slash our budgets, but don't slash your marketing budgets here. Yep. This is your future and the clients and the matters you'll be generating 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now if your firm's still around. But marketing and business development is firm, this is well entrenched. Mm-hmm. And the AmLaw 100 are, I think, far outspending and outperforming smaller and mid-sized firms. So what I want to ask Kevin and Megan, they work for big law. And what can be scaled down to smaller mid-sized firms, which is the crowd we tend to attract, the 50, 100, 150 lawyer firm that doesn't have a 58-person marketing department. Mm-hmm. How can, this is not big law stuff. I used to get, that's for big law. That's for big law. We can't afford it. I would say you can't not afford it. This is important. This is the spend next year. We see about a third of firms an uptick. Kevin?
I mean, even if you just attribute this to inflation, this is not surprising at all. But the trend over the last, 10 years, or at least since 2008, 15 years, has been more competition. And with more competition, you got to get out there more. You got to beat the other guy. So this doesn't surprise me at all.
Got to hustle. I agree. Megan, any comment on to the increases or maybe
Absolutely.
shifts in budgets and how firms are spending their marketing dollars?
Yeah, I mean, like Kevin said, prices are going up everywhere, and that includes the investment that you're making in marketing and BD. To get the same return on that investment from 3 years ago, you're probably paying more than this year than you were back then. So I completely understand those who are spending about the same or a very modest increase. The folks who are decreasing, love to know a little bit more behind that to kind of judge whether or not that's a positive for them. But costs have to be cut, and marketing, like you said, John, is one of those first places to do that. And sometimes it's, cut your nose off to spite your face in a situation.
Yeah, I agree. Penny wise, pound foolish.
Yep.
So often when the billable hours start to get a little shy, the bills are being slow paid. We look to slash expenses, and where do we go? The firm retreat. And the business development and marketing, and in my view, that is very, very short-sighted. So keep it flowing, and there's lessons to be learned from corporate America. They often up their spend when times are down to distinguish themselves from competitors. They can get a little more attention as other firms might be shutting down. Here they step up, kind of counter-cyclical. So don't shut down your marketing budget if you're nervous about short-term profitability. That's not the place to cut expenses. Let's move on and ask if our firms, I got to go some polling questions here. I'm jumping ahead, bear with me. Polling questions, and where did they go? Here they are. I don't do this often enough to be expert on it, but just for the benefit, I'm a slide ahead of us, but for the benefit of Kevin and Megan, just firm sizes on today's call. And if you would take a few minutes and indicate the size of your firm in terms of lawyer head count. We've got about 60% of the vote in, and if you would go ahead, and I'm about to close the polls and give Kevin and Megan the benefit of the firm sizes represented today. So squarely mid-law, this is our sweet spot, that 25 to 150 lawyer firm. So we try to tailor our content specifically to that audience. So our next real quick polling question, then we'll talk a little bit about marketing and business development, is whether your firm has an in-house marketing department. And we made this really simple. Yes, we have a couple of people in that marketing department. Yeah, but we have a one-man show. Maybe you have a half a person show, or we don't yet have an in-house marketer. And people are voting on this question for Megan and for Kevin. Here's what we got. 22% of today's firms don't have an in-house marketer. Third have multiple person marketing departments. Half, it's a one-man show. Talk to us about LMA, staffing levels for marketing departments. This is a kind of big picture view of that. And Megan, why don't you kick us off?
Well, I mean, I'm really gratified to hear that, of the 80 some folks that are on this seminar, there are, 78% of them having some kind of marketing team. And I think that's just fantastic. I know a lot of smaller firms may split a marketing function with, maybe say recruiting or some other operational function. But the fact that you're thinking enough about marketing and you have somebody assigned to do that for you, I think just shows the level of investment that the firm is putting into that business development in that proactive way. This profession didn't really fully effectively exist 50 years ago from a legal marketing point of view. And the fact that we've advanced so far that there's a legal marketing association and there are professionals dedicated to this, I think is just truly a testament to the attorneys taking that risk and also recognizing that as attorneys, we're educated in the law. We're not necessarily educated in how to run our firm, how to manage accounting, how to manage finance, and especially how to manage marketing. And that's where we can really provide some value.
Yeah, and I would add to that, the Legal Marketing Association is celebrating our 40th anniversary. So we've been around for 40 years. And the biggest sector of membership growth is coming from small firms. And I think that's reflected here. And to your point earlier, Megan, it's great to see that, 70-something% of the folks here have an in-house legal marketer. And, for those of you who aren't members or whose marketing people aren't members, there's a lot of benefits and a lot of resources available at the Legal Marketing Association to support them. I know when you're a single marketer in an organization, it's difficult to know, what are other people doing or what are best practices in the market. The Legal Marketing Association is a great place to go and get that information, bring it back to the firm, and evaluate new things and new ideas and new service providers and new vendors and whatnot. So I encourage you to check it out.
Kevin, how many members now at LMA?
Globally, we have about 4,000 members.
Wow.
Probably 3,600 of those are North America, mostly US based.
Wow.
We have European region, Canadian region, and then rest of the world.
Wow. Again, that's what stunned me when I went to San Diego. I'm member number 101 of LMA. I'm an old timer, and going there, it'd been a long time. I was stunned by the progress that the law marketing industry has achieved in just a short amount of time. And, in the early days, my notion of law firm marketing was billboards, yellow pages, and television advertisements.
Well,
And,
right. Just 15 years ago, it was, again, before 2008, you remember the American Lawyer or the regional trade publications were thick with ads and,
yes,
and branding campaigns and whatnot. Today, there are so many more choices of media to advertise.
And really niche it too. Can't you micro target,
Micro targeting, absolutely.
And I saw that ad in American Lawyer. I got to hire you guys. Is that more for client reinforcement or is it more to generate new clients? But boy, with a lot of money, we went through that branding and advertising phase, and we've come a long way since, haven't we?
Right.
And that brings us sort of our next, just as we go through the program, definitionally, the difference: marketing, BD, advertising, social media. There are a lot of moving pieces here. Kevin, just how do you define business development, marketing, ads? How do you distinguish those things?
Yeah, so if you think back 40 years ago or even 20 years ago, marketers at law firms were really generalists in terms of, some of them had worked their way up through the ranks of other administrative positions. So, making reservations and doing parties and, then maybe doing an ad or trying something out. We've come a long way in terms of, hiring true marketing and business development professionals, but there's still a little bit of confusion between the difference between marketing and business development. So the simplest definitions would be marketing and sales, right? Thinking about business development as salespeople. But marketing is the traditional, 4 Ps: pricing, packaging, product, and promotion. So advertising, social media, public relations, communications, your website, your written materials, all of that is marketing. Business development is really analyzing markets, looking for clients, helping partners pitch business to bring in new clients, and a combination then of some client service, right? Keeping your existing clients happy, looking for more opportunities to bring more practices into the mix of what you're offering, all in an effort, to make them stickier, better clients, longer term clients, and providing them more value.
Megan, how would you distinguish marketing, BD, the other components of a law firm
I think Kevin did a great job of describing it. What we like to say at the firm is marketing helps show you the door and business development helps you walk into it. So marketing will be all of that support effort that goes to kind of demonstrating your credentials to a potential client. And then business development helps you with that kind of one-to-one or small group relationship to help you walk through that door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we all show, I think, the same sort of concept. I often say marketing is the stuff we buy. It's our brand, it's our website, it's our advertising, it's, you know, our charitable giving, things like that, you know, check writing activities. Business development is what we do with our time to build and cultivate genuine relationships with folks in a position to hire and refer. You can't buy trust. You got to earn trust, and it might take a while. And I often say clients hire the lawyer, not the law firm. Generally speaking, they hire the lawyer. They know, they like, they trust, and you can't buy the trust. So, but you know, it's a blend, obviously. I had a managing partner, we were doing a webinar on this. He says, marketing is spreading the bird seed out. Business development is going in there and knocking that bird on the head with a hammer and taking it home. I thought that was an
Very
interesting
colorful
way to,
analogy.
Colorful.
I thought it was very impactful. I should have had a slide with a bird seed, you know, people or some guy hitting a pigeon with a hammer. That would have been good. Keeping moving here. Thanks for those definitions. So let's move into what's hot. And I love getting pictures into these webinars. So I'm Googling, you know, on iStock photo, what hot? Give me a picture of something hot. And this little fella showed up. Megan, this is something you wanted to talk a lot about is current clients and getting closer to them. Before we get into that, let's just ask a couple of baseline questions of our audience to get a sense of where they're at. Our first question is, does your firm regularly solicit client feedback? Yes, we have a very formal feedback program. Yes, but it's kind of ad hoc. Or no, we don't ask our clients how we doing. What do you think? I'm going to ask you to predict, Megan, where you think most of this crowd is.
I'm hoping we've got 60% or better doing some sort of client feedback.
Kevin, what's your
Whether
prediction?
End of matter surveys or formalized client feedback. I'm hoping that we're there.
Yeah, my prediction is it's going to be informal.
Boy, you guys are smart. Look at that.
Yeah.
Only 15% have a formal kind of firm-wide feedback program.
Mm-hmm.
And Megan, you mentioned a few techniques, post-engagement questionnaires, annual client survey, client visits. Maybe you hire an independent outside firm to go visit clients. But I mean, this is the low-hanging fruit, I believe. Let's ask another question here to give our audience a sense, and that speaks to client teams. Megan, you asked that we include this question.
Yeah.
Does your firm have client teams? And I'm going to make this one really simple. Yes or no?
Now, I
Megan,
think
what do you think?
When we think about a client team, you know, what I'm thinking about is a specifically formed group of individuals that are serving a client, not that kind of ad hoc, oh, you know, I had to call John down the hall in because there was a corporate matter and I was working on litigation. It's really a thoughtfully formed group of individuals staffing a specific client.
Are they lawyers currently serving the client, or are they lawyers we're looking to cross-sell to the client?
I mean, ideally, you've got a group of folks that you're looking to cross-sell, and you also have your business professionals involved as well to ensure that you have a end-to-end client service standard that you're meeting for each one of those clients. So you make sure your billing professional is involved. You make sure that the legal executive assistants are involved, so that they all understand what's going on with the client team and the industry, and you know everything that is happening that is relevant to the relationships that you're trying to kind
Megan,
of keep.
That sounds like a lot of non-billable time. And how big should the client be before it justifies a team?
Well, I mean, that's a judgment that each firm, I think, has to make, but it should be a fairly well-thresholded client. You know, I mean, I would say it could be top 10, could be top 100, depending on the number of clients that your firm has. But it's ensuring that the investment that you make has the payoff. Your client teams can meet quarterly and still make a huge and provide a huge benefit to those clients. But it's just, you know, something that is that additional investment that you as a firm can make to show that you've truly institutionalized that client and that they are part of your ethos just as much as you want to be part of theirs.
Kevin, what you got on client teams?
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with what Megan just said. I think the key is it is an investment, right? There are non-billable hours involved, so that you have to be comfortable with up front. The name is exactly the focus. Client team. It's not called a cross-selling team. The focus is providing value to your client to make them, to provide better service. So, I think that there's an investment that has to be made, and it has to be top of mind that why we're doing this is a long-term partnership.
No, I
That's
think
a
the
really
way,
great point, Kevin. It's the long-term partnership that we'd be looking for there. And so that investment that you're making in the non-billable time really goes to kind of overcome that cost to acquire a replacement client that would have to come in because you haven't properly served this client in the relationship.
Yep.
teams, I think they apply in the context of client succession. Frequently, these smaller firms, the client relationships are controlled by the senior lawyers. And as they move into their 60s, 70s, and beyond, if the only person they know at the firm is their buddy who's now 80 years old, and I haven't gotten a chance to know, like, trust the younger lawyers, I might go shopping. So I think in the context of client succession, because I see so often we don't want the clients to retire when our senior lawyers retire. So client teams, try one or two. Just try one or two. Look at your page one clients, maybe your top 10, and pick one where you got a good number of practice groups and potential cross-selling opportunities there. And I think the leader of the team is important. And can you call a meeting, hold people accountable, make things happen? Is really important. But institutionalizing
the research to kind of know what's going on with that client and understand what's going on with their industry, that can be really pivotal in making sure that this is a positive interaction for all.
Oh, beautiful segue, McKeon, to industry practice groups. I love, if anyone's heard me talk about marketing, industry focus teams. So you got client teams and industry teams. Maybe you have industry teams, and within those industry teams, we have client teams. So if we got a banking practice group, and within that banking practice group, we have a couple of banking client teams. Wouldn't that be crazy? But practice groups, industry focused. In the early days of the marketing, we'd market litigation and transactional and estate planning and tax. We'd market our areas of law. But I think law firms figured out a while back, hopefully, that we're taking a more industry client-focused approach to what we're doing. Megan, I'll ask for your prediction on this one. Industry practice groups.
A better than average, yes. I would say I'm hoping for 70%. How about we get there?
You're going to like what you see. We're at about 3/4.
That's awesome.
And again, try one. If you haven't yet dipped your toe into industry groups, look at your page one clients. What industries do we see? Banking, real estate, what have you. And here are just some examples. Banking, you got your healthcare. If you haven't yet established your cannabis practice group, you probably missed the boat. This little red velvet is, I often think, to consumer-facing firms, estate planning, family law, personal injury. Maybe you set up a private client services group. And, here's the array of services we offer. High net worth families and individuals. I've recommended that to a lot of firms, and it sets up really well. And it promotes the cross-selling and all those other good things. Clients want law firms that understand their industry. Here's one way to get closer to clients. We ask this question when you register. Any comments? Kevin, you told me as we were getting ready, your firm just launched something kind of new and fun.
Yeah, it's funny. So I'm still looking at, oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, that's me. That's user error.
Yeah, no, okay, good. I thought I was frozen for a second. So we just launched yesterday a chatbot for the homepage for clients and potential clients and users of the website to be able to access our content and answers to their questions faster. So it's a Chat GPT, but it's a Lowenstein GPT. So it's limited to the information that's on our website, and it, works just like Chat GPT does.
So Kevin, if I go to your website right now,
Right now.
I'll be greeted by a bot saying, what can I help you with?
Yep, little pop-up. Put any kind of question in there and you'll get, if it's not related to what we do, it'll tell you. I can't answer that. But
we're going to have to come back to you in a couple of months and ask how that's going.
Yeah.
Megan, but that's cool. And
Yeah.
Megan, what anything you say about using technology to more closely interface with clients?
I mean, technology can be the great equalizer between a large firm and a small firm. A technology investment from a small firm can pay dividends in the same exact way that a technology investment from a large firm can. So it can really level the playing field between a small firm and a large firm. So I do think something like a chatbot like you've got, Kevin, and I have so many questions and want to know what you're doing with the data you collect from that chatbot, but I will leave those all for another conversation. But having a chatbot like that can be a great equalizer for a small firm, trying to play in the same, kind of pond as a large firm.
Well, and I think, smaller firms have almost have an advantage in rolling out technology because the scale is not as great. The decision-making process is a little bit more streamlined. And to your point, it is a great equalizer. So, being able to be the first one out has a distinct advantage.
So Kevin, were you the one to propose this crazy idea to the partners of your firm?
I was.
And did you get interesting looks and pushback?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I've always been a proponent of artificial intelligence, and when ChatGPT came out 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, I was on top of it. I've done several CLEs for the Association of Corporate Counsel around generative AI, and it was somebody in our IT department told me that it wasn't possible for us to do something like that. So over Thanksgiving weekend, I actually wrote I wrote my own. It didn't work very well, but it worked enough for me to come back and say, look, I did this over the weekend, so we're gonna go ahead and move forward with this. So I did get a lot of questions. I did get a lot of looks. It surfaces a lot of interesting data points on the website because hard coding a website in HTML doesn't serve a human well. And when generative AI looks at your website kind of as a human, it doesn't translate the same way. So the answers that we were getting were based on the HTML structure, not on the way that somebody would read it. So it caused us to think about structuring our website differently, how we post content differently, how search engines are going to look at our website in the future using generative AI. So, it's a good time to be ahead of the curve.
Is it expensive?
No, it's not expensive.
So even mid-law can do it, huh?
Yeah.
Even solo practitioners could do it.
Even solo practitioners. Yep. ChatGPT, OpenAI has a custom GPT product that anybody can go in and use on any website.
Well, I'm going to go test your chat bot. Once we're done, I'm going to challenge it and see if I can't confuse it. You'll probably, if you're monitoring, you'll say, oh, that's Remsen. So let's segue into, we talked about getting closer to current clients and a number of ways to do that. Throwing parties, some love to be wined and dined, but that's your low-hanging fruit, and that's let's never lose sight of that. That should always be red hot, I think. Then as we were kind of getting together planning the call, Kevin he said AI, AI, AI with a bunch of exclamation points. So let me ask a question or two, then we'll talk a little bit more about AI because it really is spooking a lot of managing partners. We all look back to that Schwartz incident and the headlines it generated, and we don't want to be that firm.
That's right.
So we'll just ban it. That's what we'll do. But let's just ask this question of our audience to get a sense of where their firms might be in terms of using AI as it applies to its marketing and business development, not the practice of law, it applies to the marketing and business development function. And I give you three choices here. Yeah, we've been using it. We use it fairly routinely. 40%, yeah, we're starting to come around to it, kick it around, play with it. And no. Kevin, you're our AI passionate speaker here. What you think our audience is going to come in with in terms of their applications of AI?
I think that we're going to come in around, yes, we are starting to use it some.
Okay, Megan, what do you think? We're starting to tiptoe into this?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the marketing and BD side of things, it is easier and more accessible to use AI there and less challenging from the legal point of view. Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Mm.
Well, so let me comment on this. If you have associates at your firm, if you have business professionals at your firm, people at your firm are using AI. They are using ChatGPT. Even if you have said don't, they are absolutely using it. So that's actually more concerning to me. If you ban the use of it, people are going to try to get around that ban, and they're going to do it on their phone, or they're going to do it on their home computer, and they're going to use that in their work product. So training your people on how to use it and what to use it for and when not to use it, more importantly, is very, very important.
How to use it smart. And that's how you're going to, we do these managing partner Zoom calls, and I'll never forget it. I almost fell out of my chair. This managing partner running about 150 lawyer firm, multiple offices in the Midwest, says, we're banning it. We're banning it. It's like, really, that's really helping your people and your clients. It's not going away.
Yeah.
And lean into it, start to play with it. And I think marketing and business development is kind of a safe place to do that.
Not only firms are using it, and some firms are using it well. I mean, I think that we're using it well.
Yeah.
And so if you're not using it, at least for business development and marketing, you're going to be way behind. I mean, the efficiencies.
Examples of how you're using it for your marketing and business development stuff.
So at a very basic level, just doing press releases, a draft of a press release, going to ChatGPT and doing a draft of a new partner's bio, or updating a practice description, or maybe a more advanced use might be something like Beautiful AI, which is a PowerPoint generator. So you can take text from a client alert and just drop the text into Beautiful AI, and it'll create a 12 or 14 page PowerPoint presentation for you. So if you need speaker slides for a presentation or a pitch, it'll pump it out for you, and then you can drop your logo in there, and it saves countless hours. And the results are generally better than what we're getting, from our junior folks that would spend that much time trying to put them together.
Well, and it's a first draft. I mean, you've got to fact check it and
100%.
confirm and edit and verify. But as you say, it's a time saver
and
when it comes to generating first drafts.
Yeah, and then for business development purposes, right? You're going on a pitch to somebody you don't really know, but you have their LinkedIn profile, or you know a little bit about them. You can ask ChatGPT to create a persona. Tell me about John, who is a general counsel, and he lives in Atlanta, and he's 45 years old and extremely good looking.
Thank you. Right?
Tell me about him, right? It will give you that persona, so that you now it's not just a blind pitch. Now you know something about them. It's made up, right? It's a persona. It's not actually you, but it personifies that person that you may not know. And there have been several instances where the one persona that we created, one of the data points was, age, whatever, also plays pickleball, right? To kind of humanize, okay, this is a real person that I'm going to pitch. Lawyer comes back from the pitch and he goes, he actually plays pickleball.
And we've got a match on Saturday. It's so
much to do.
powerful. It's so powerful, and you know, it's like riding a bike. You can read about it all day long, but you know, get on the bike and use it, and
And there are
next thing you
easy
know,
ways
you're.
to start too.
Yeah,
You know,
Megan, I was going to turn to you.
Kevin's talking about some of the more sophisticated, which I mean, I'm going to go start creating personas for our BD pursuits. I'm going to do that now. You're talking about some of the more sophisticated uses, but if you've never done this, if you're in that no category, drop in information about an event and ChatGPT will come up with a nice title for an event, or drop in one of your client alerts. Give me a title for a client alert. The titles we come up with as lawyers for client alerts are too wordy, too boring, and not engaging. Let ChatGPT show you what it can do in just a simple application like this, and it can really help motivate and kind of propel your involvement with AI in a way that is discreet, you know, kind of verifiable, but also very helpful to you.
Do not put client information into any of these.
Or judges.
Right.
Why? Because you know that could stuff coming back and bite you in the butt someday. And
Inadvertent
be smart,
disclosure
be
is a
be
real
lawyer-like, and be skeptical. Be
Yep.
skeptical.
Yep.
Kevin, I asked you to produce some resources. You rattled off a few, and I go, "Wow, hang on, I can't take notes that fast." So I said, "Give me a list," and just talk us through real quick. I'm looking at our time. We've got about 15 minutes or 20
Okay.
minutes left. But
Yeah,
give us what do these
quick.
things do?
Some of these are free, some of these you have to pay for, but Dolly is the first one. It generates images. You put in a description and it'll give you, you know, an image of what you've described. You can refine it. You can ask it a million times to go back and change it. It's different styles, different, you name it. It pretty much does everything. Adobe Photoshop has an image editing suite. This one you do have to pay for, but it's just like Photoshop, but it's AI. So you put in natural language, change the color of my shirt, change the background, and it does it for you without any kind of editing or creative design skills. Descript does the same for videos. So you want to change the background in a video, or you want to dub over what somebody said, or you want to cut somebody out of it, it does all that. ChatGPT is the one that's been in the news. You can ask it anything. You can ask it to draft an email to a client, or a response to something, or summarize an article, you name it. Jasper does similar, but it also can help with prompts of things that you should be writing about, client alerts and practice descriptions and things like that. ClearScope is more for your content optimization on the website. So if you are in a competitive environment and you want, you know, your potential clients find you through search engines, ClearScope can help you optimize your content that you're putting on your website so that it's more search engine friendly.
This is incredible.
Yep.
You know, I'm learning stuff here, Kevin, that I'm going to go check this stuff out, you know.
Grammarly is it's like a plugin for your Microsoft products. So as you're typing, it gives you suggestions, almost like the Word suggestions in Microsoft. Grammarly's it's an excellent tool. It's a little more intrusive, and so we don't use it at our firm only because they do collect information that we wouldn't be comfortable collecting. But it is a great tool for just general writing and marketing and business development. And then Canva we use Canva every single day, multiple times a day. This generates graphics for us for social media posts, for PowerPoint presentations, backgrounds. It has the AI input. So you tell it what you want, it creates it for you. It's easy to use. That's pretty cheap. It's not free, but well worth it.
It's amazing. That's just amazing. You know, I go to iStock Photo for my pictures, and I don't know what that account costs me every year, but you know, a couple $100. I think I'm going to check out some of these resources and cancel my iStock Photo subscription here. Megan, any comments to you from you on AI and guidance to the leaders of smaller mid-sized firms on today's call?
Yeah, I mean, I really think just getting started, getting over that kind of threshold and trying it once will really help prove to you that, at least in the marketing and business development arena, this is not something to be afraid of. This is not something to be concerned about. Yes, John, as you said, be skeptical as a lawyer. Kevin, as you noted, don't put client confidential information in there. Don't put information you wouldn't want shared broadly in there. But ask ChatGPT to help you with certain things that, stall you out. We all have those BD things that we just do not want to do. See if AI or ChatGPT can help you do some of those.
Well,
I'm sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
Sorry, John, I will also add, as you're hiring marketing and business development professionals, ask them about their experience with AI tools. That is good. That is the biggest, fastest growing area for marketers. It's prompt engineering. What you put into ChatGPT or the words that you use to get the output matters. And so people who are really good at it and can get output that's unique and different than what other people put in is very valuable. So if you're not asking about that, or you're not putting that in your job descriptions for marketing people, it's something that you definitely should think about.
Absolutely, and the algorithms are happening so fast. When I first started playing with ChatGPT about a year ago, I'd Google myself, I'd chat myself, but I set up a fake email account, so it didn't have my real legitimate email account. I went and set up a Yahoo account. I think I'm flying under. Who do I think I'm fooling, right? But tell me about John Remsen Jr. 500 words, please. And man, not bad. It had me writing some books that didn't exist, but I recognized some of the copy. It seems to have kind of surfed through my website, but some of it I didn't recognize. But it was a damn good first draft. And then I'll go back and query the same question later in the day, 500 words or less, and get a slightly different response. So it changes, but it's amazingly powerful. We're just scratching the surface. You either get ahead of it or you're behind the curve. And we've been doing some webinars on this and have that Rogers adoption curve. We got your early adopters, your leading edge, and you don't want to be among the laggards here. This is happening too damn fast and could leave you in the dust if you don't lean into it. Our guidance has been put training out there for your people, because they are using it, and put a policy in place. And create your policy. Good first draft, ChatGPT. Give me ChatGPT policy for a mid-sized firm in Virginia. 500 words, please.
Yep.
Not a bad first draft, but if something goes sideways, one of your people does something stupid, maybe that offers you some level of comfort. Uri, my cohort, she does risk management stuff, and we were talking about insurance around cyber and AI and all these things. Stuff is happening fast for sure. We are coming to our home stretch, and we wanted to talk a little bit about business development training for your people. And is your firm doing that on a regular basis? Are you teaching your young lawyers, your junior partners, how to do this? Individual plans, perhaps. What do you think, Kevin? You think most people are doing training, firms this size?
I don't know. I hope so, but I'm gonna lean towards more the informal.
Megan, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with Kevin. I think most are going to lean towards that informal ad hoc area.
I have to promise everybody, they do not see the polling responses coming in. These folks are on top of the trends in law firm marketing, as you could see. But training, and where do you start? Megan, at what level of years out of law school do you think firms should be, putting a little training out there for their people?
We should be introducing the topic at the summer associate or law clerk level. The idea that eventually business development becomes part of the role that you must play should be introduced, the second somebody expresses an interest in the practice of law. When do you start the real tangible business development planning and client development training? We do client development training with our summer associates. We do client development training with our first year associates. we want them to learn how to practice law. That's always the objection that we will hear. Oh, I should be spending my time to learn how to practice law. 1000%. Part of the practice of law is developing clients. And so while, no, I don't want you spending 20 hours a month on client development as a first-year associate, it should be top of mind for you. And you should have some sort of BD plan, how you're going to engage with people you went to college with, or people you went to law school with, the associations that you want to get involved in. Those should be kind of the threshold levels for, say, that 1 to 3 year associate. And then after 3 years, let's start getting a business development plan where you have some clients that you want to pursue and have tangible pursuit projects dedicated towards that. And then of course, after that, 5-year mark, we should be full on. BD planning is, it should be part of the ethos at that point.
So Megan, at your firm, do you have individual business development plans?
They're not mandatory.
Track the non-billable time.
Sorry?
You track the non-billable time.
We do track the non-billable business development investment time. We call it investment time. But no, they're not mandatory business development plans. Each of our business units, which is what we call our practice groups, has a different policy for that. Certain ones require it, certain ones don't. But we operate on kind of a functionality of whoever, we take all comers, and whoever is interested is who we will have. And then we push out proactive business development training workshops to everybody. And we generally get, of our 700 lawyers, we generally get between 200 and 250 attorneys attending each one of those workshops. And they're all virtual.
Wow. Kevin, you guys doing individual business development plans?
Yes, we are. Yeah. So just like Megan, we do practice area plans, and we encourage everyone to have an individual business development plan that rolls up into the greater plan. They are not mandatory, but the folks that are interested, we will take all comers as well. We're not staffed to do all 350 or 400 lawyers that we have. So, it's kind of first come, first serve, but we do encourage everyone. And we start business development training on day one. And some of that is basic. It's how do you interact with a client on a matter that you're working today? How do you interact with them on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram? When is it okay to friend somebody or friend a judge? Not, right? It's, giving them those kind of guidelines right from the get-go, then they're much more comfortable by the time they're 3 to 5 years with what to post, how to talk, how to look at potential clients and identifying potential clients. So we start from day one.
Our friend Ross Fishman has a legendary article he wrote, I don't know how many years ago, must be 30 years ago, about by years in practice. First year associate, here's some things you should do. Moving up to second year, third year, fourth year. And it's like riding the bike. You start with a tricycle. Yep. And then you move up, you get confident on the tricycle, and you get a little baby bike with training wheels. And next thing you know, it just becomes part of your lifestyle.
Yep.
And it's ingrained in life. Megan, you said it spot on. There's more to a well-rounded practice than billable hours. And I the skeptics, and I reference an ABA document several years ago, the model diet for associate attorneys. Model diet for associates. This is the ABA. It contemplates 2,300 all in, 1,900 billable, and prescribes 400 investment hours. That's the word to use, I think. And it breaks it down. Business development, CLE, pro bono, firm administration, all these categories that are really important beyond just billable hours. And investing in those well-rounded skill sets of your young lawyers and start early. Let's talk a little bit, lastly, our last question, and you were big on this one, Kevin, and that's the ROI, the data that we share with marketing people. So let me move on to this polling question. And Megan, you had us ask this one, which is, does your firm share meaningful, keyword meaningful, financial data with its marketing team? Megan, talk to us, and then we'll reveal the vote.
Well, I'm thinking here like profitability measures, kind of revenue generated, where your pyramid shapes out, like all of that information is super meaningful and helpful to a marketing team and helping the firm meet its goals. Now, we asked the same question at the LMA conference in the profitability fishbowl that John was mentioning.
We did.
And every person in the room raised their hands. So I'm hoping that we're going to have similar response here, but about 50.
Difference between big law and mid law.
Very
LMA,
much
by the way, these are, you'll hear these people say, well, I'm just with a little 400 lawyer firm. We don't have that many attorneys. And I'm going, wow, that's a pretty, that's a pretty good sized law firm. So it's a little different perspective. But
sure.
the data, the compensation, marketing people should know how the compensation system works.
Absolutely. They don't need to know the numbers, but knowing how it works really helps them to help motivate the attorneys to do what you want them to do, which is grow the business.
Does this stun you?
Doesn't stun me. After this call, some folks will start sharing a little bit more information with their marketing team.
The young lawyers like a little transparency. They want to know what's going down. And I find that often the equity partners are reluctant to share that, quote, sensitive proprietary information. But boy, the more you're willing to share, I think it'll be well received. Kevin, what say you about data, sharing of data? Then we have a question about ROI, which is, I know, something you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, part of it surprises me because a lot of our industry is open about results, especially with things like the AmLaw 200 and NLJ 500, et cetera. Part of it doesn't surprise me. I mean, private law firms are privately held corporations. So I don't know. I mean, I agree with sharing the information and helping the business professionals understand where we are as a business. But I understand the other side, not wanting to share financial information for closely held, privately held organization.
I work with firms that will not share the top client list beyond the equity partners.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people have a sense who the big clients are, but
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't we share that? Well, that could get out to one of our competitors. That's proprietary. Come on. I think the upside far outweighs the downside when it comes to sharing this type of information.
Depends on the firm, depends on the practices. I mean, I think that there are some. You mentioned private client services. I would agree. Don't share those, right?
Well, don't you want to market where the money is, market where the profitable clients are, the profitable industries are, as opposed to more insurance defense or workers' comp defense?
Well, I mean, I think where, right? I mean, we know where those potential clients aggregate and where the private family offices of private banks and whatnot. We know where they go, but publishing the names of your wealthy families that you're representing, I don't think that behooves anyone. If you're a family law firm, here's all the folks that we helped with their divorce. I don't know that that's in anybody's best interest either. So I kind of think it depends.
It is, but I think transparency is a good thing in terms of here are our top clients, here are the rates we're charging these clients, and
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, especially if you have public litigation or public filings. I mean, it's out there anyway, right? Mm-hmm. And you have we have a lot of clients that talk about us, right? They issue their press release when a matter closes or a deal closes and whatnot. So in those cases, I agree.
I think there's a difference between the B2B and the B2C side of things. When you're looking at the B2C, which would include kind of the family office side of things as well, though they do operate as a business, I think you want to be slightly more careful, maybe more cautious on that point. But the B2B clients, if your competitors are worth their salt, they're already doing some of that research and they know who you're serving. So mm-hmm. that information getting out for the benefit that you would receive by sharing it is the detriment's not there.
Mm-hmm.
We try to talk about ROI, what with our marketing and business development, where are we getting returns? Is this seminar generating new matters? Is this client appreciation event, and what's achieving good results? Kevin, when we talked about this in our rehearsal, you were attributing a quote to John Wanamaker.
Right.
That it's hard to figure out what works, what doesn't, but man, we should be trying.
That's
would
right.
think. Talk to us about ROI and some tips to get a handle on that.
Yeah, the quote is, I know that half of my advertising is wasted. I just don't know which half, right? And
look at that. Whoa.
I need the rubric. I'm not sure which A, B, C, D, and F means.
Well, how would you grade?
Oh, how would you
How
grade?
well does your firm track is what how would you grade? Maybe I didn't word that question quite well, but how would you grade your firm's tracking of ROI, A, B, C, D, or F?
Yeah, I
And
gotcha.
this doesn't surprise me. We're throwing a lot of stuff out there. We're not quite sure what's working, what's not. We're just trying lots of stuff.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, I think that's about right. People have a sense anecdotally that, a conference might have been successful because they got a piece of business or they followed up with somebody that they've been chasing for a while. But it's difficult to say somebody read my client alert and then went to the website and then registered for a webinar and then maybe came by and saw me at a conference and then a year and a half later called me for a matter that may or may not relate to any of those things,
Right.
right? But we've been
Yep.
chasing them. So
And it's a cumulative effect. It's hard to isolate that but-for activity that resulted in this new client, this new matter.
that's right.
It's a lot of things that sort of 8 to 11 impressions, say the studies, 8 to
That's right.
11 impressions. It's a courtship.
Yep.
So
And
which date, worked?
I would
Megan, comments on ROI? Any advice you might give our folks on the call?
I mean, it is hard to track ROI, but the first part of tracking ROI is measuring your spend in the first place. And I know that, that can be a challenge as well. Just having a quick form to fill out in advance of a sponsorship request or an event that you're trying to do, that can give you valuable data that's easy to use to track. So it's a great starting point.
Try to get a handle on it in that intake form. What triggered this matter? The lawyer's always going to say, well, it's me. But that might be a place to try to get this information, but tracking and
And those client feedback interviews.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you read or do you pay attention to the directories? That's a question I like to ask clients. Do the directories factor into your decision making to hire counsel at all? Real quick, we're out of time, but I just wanted to get to, we talked about what's hot, what's not. Kevin, what's not?
standalone blogs.
Standalone blogs.
All
Megan?
your content should be on your website. It should be integrated. The search engines like it better. ChatGPT likes it better. The AI bots like it better. The standalone one-off blogs are out.
Megan, what's your
Browsing
non-hot item?
Complaining about alternative fee arrangements. They're here to stay. The billable hour is also here to stay, but let's just stop complaining about it.
Stop our whining. I'll say directories and leave it at that. Remember when Martindale Hubble was the only game in town? And now there are hundreds, thousands of these accolades.
I started my legal career at Martindale Hubble. So
did you? Back when the AV rating was it. And now I talk to young lawyers, they don't even know what an AV rating is. It's like, well, it matters to some of the old timers and some of the judges. So, don't be totally dismissive of it. But man, just that area, directories, rankings, boy, that's gone from 1 to hundreds in just a short time.
My retirement.
That's how we should get rich, sell plaques to lawyers, right? With super lawyers blinking, that'd be great. In any event, I'm going to hear from the Thomson Reuters people, I'm sure. Kevin, thank you. Appreciate it. Time flies. Megan, you as well. We really do thank you for the time and attention you've invested with us. We really appreciate it. Let us know what we could do to return the favor. And a few little announcements before I let people go. And that is our fall symposium. Is that what's up? No, that's not what's up. Fall symposium, be on the lookout. That's going to be in October. It's women, empowering women in law firm leadership. And then next month, we're going to do National Association of Law Placement. Just tendered a stay study. And that's what keeps lawyers at your firm. And so they're going to present some of that. Retention, recruiting is a hot issue. Making sure people come, they stay, getting feedback from your people. as well as your clients isn't a bad idea. We'll send you the follow-up to today's program. Thank you, Nine Sale, for writing up a recap for us. Tell us what you thought of today's program. We really do pay attention to that. It's part of soliciting client feedback. So thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Kevin. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you, John. Thanks, Megan.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.